subconscious beliefs are controlling your life. Now, let me tell you why that's important to know. Because you want to be controlling your life. And if subconscious beliefs are doing it, then you're not actually getting what you want out of life.
Welcome to More Than Mindset, the only podcast that bridges the gap between spirituality and success. Go beyond the mind with clarity and confidence coach Kim Guillory and learn how to integrate your passion to serve with your skills and experience to create a business you love. Let's get started.
So here you are, an adult, and you see other people getting what you want, and you can't figure out how to get it for yourself. That's why it's important to know why this is happening and what to do about it. That's what this show is about. So first, let's understand what is going on. Just imagine there's parts of our brain or our mind or our self as a whole being. So we have thoughts, right? That's coming from our mind. Thoughts come and go all day long. If you just sat quietly for 15 minutes, you would have hundreds, maybe thousands of thoughts that just come and go, come and go, come and go. Guys, you are not your thoughts. And then you have your brain, your survival brain, the part that keeps you alive and keeps you in the game and solves problems. Like it's the reason that you're still here. And then your mind is over here telling stories. And these two guys have tag team against us, especially when it's unconscious. So these thoughts, the ones that you see, the ones that you're aware of, that's not a problem because you can see those and choose not to believe them. The problem is the subconscious thoughts going on beneath the surface, creating sensations in your body. So the mind is telling stories, putting together pieces of the puzzle. It's like gathering evidence. It's in agreement of whatever the sensation is, this fear, anxiety, worry, or tension. And it's not always true. That's why you can't really believe your feelings. So I know I threw a lot out there. You have a body, you have a brain, your mind, your subconscious and conscious mind, and then your nervous system. Let's use an example of you heard something when you were a kid. And it was before you could actually defend it or even prove if it was true or not true. You just heard it, you had an experience around it, and it imprinted in your system. That's just how things are. Your mind wasn't expanded yet, so you didn't know how, well, maybe that's how things are, but they're also this way. So we have limited thinking. It's coming from our upbringing, the environment we grew up in, from generations, society as we experienced it, like to the degree that we experienced our environment and society and what we heard in our family. It's created this story, this dialogue, and we interpreted that as life in general. That's just how life is. Okay, so that is one story that's imprinted in the cells of your being in your body. And now you're, let's say 30, 40, 50 years later, and you want something that you haven't achieved yet. But your mind keeps coming back to this story, this limited story. And whenever you try to change it or break it or pry away from it, your nervous system gets dysregulated because it's used to living in this other story, whether you like it or not. That truth is truth to your subconscious, and it will be true until the day that you die, unless you learn how to overcome it. So it's like overcoming yourself, your younger self, overcoming your younger self. So thoughts, experiences, beliefs imprinted in your mind, in your body, and now it tells a story, it paints a picture. And then here's the you today. You're like, I did all that. I don't want to do that again. I want something new and different. I want what they have, or I want what I believe God is leading me towards. Like, I want something else. but you can't get out of it. You can't go there. Like, what gives? Why can't you just decide and then go do something else? Do you ever ask yourself that question? Like, why is it good for them? Why did they get there? Why is there generations of wealth that keep getting wealthier? And then over here, there's generations of poverty and middle class, and they keep struggling. Have you ever asked that question? Like, why is it so hard for these people? And why is it so easy for these people? Why do these people keep multiplying what they have? And why can these people never have more? Well, that has to do with this. It's the subconscious that's dictating your future. And if you don't know to challenge it, you will pass it down to the next generation and they'll pass it down to the next generation until someone chooses to stop the cycle. I consider myself a cycle breaker. Many of you listening are cycle breakers. We're like, no, stops with me. No more poverty, no more traumas, no more passing that on to the next and the next. I refuse to believe that's true for me. I think back to the moment of being a teenager and being groomed for welfare. I'm like, I was taken to the HUD house. I was taking, like, okay, we're going to get you a house. The government's going to pay for it. We're going to get you some food stamps and you're going to get a little welfare check every month. That was going to be my future. But something inside of me disagreed. So as I'm sitting here in the fourth chair, right in front of the window in the welfare office, I made a decision. I made a commitment in that moment. I ain't coming back here. I got benefits for 6 months. And I was like, I got to figure it out for then. But there was no one telling me different. My upbringing, my environment, my social community, right? They brought me to welfare. Like, this is your life, Kim. This is what it's going to be like. And I'm here, I'm me. And there is a higher version of me. There is another me. There's an adult me in that moment that made a decision. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going there. That's not going to be my life. But I didn't know how to get there. And when I looked around, I didn't have anyone to tell me how to get there. And I didn't have anyone telling me there was not great. Like, Kim, just go there. Just go there. Just work for cash. Keep getting your rent paid for. You'll be fine. This is how it is. Here's your life, Kim. You getting what I'm saying? There was nothing in me saying that I could have what someone else had that had a better life. I didn't have an example. I didn't have a mother telling me that. I didn't have a father telling me that. I didn't have even my employer is the one who took me and got me on the HUD house. So I had to overcome myself. I had to overcome my past, my upbringing, society, and how I had been treated in society and what I believed. I had to overcome that to have this. And that's what many of you are facing is all I know is what I know. But listen, guys, as an adult, it is our responsibility to learn and have something else if we want something else. We cannot be a victim of these circumstances and not have a choice getting out of it. You've been given a choice. Like, I don't know how I knew that was not going to work, but it wasn't going to work. And that's inside of you too. We all have the ability to change the trajectory of what has been into what could be. Many of you have overcome to a certain degree, but then you stopped. You stopped at this is good enough. This is better than that. And I'm here to wake you up today. Listen, that's cool if you're satisfied, if you've reached your potential, if you have optimized all that you can offer to the world. But if there is a degree of dissatisfaction in you, if there is a part of you that sees someone else or something else exist out there that you could be, and you're not doing it, you are slowly choosing death, my friend. You are slowly going backwards. You're settling for average, and average is a failing formula because average without overcoming gets taken down by gravity. And that means going down. It's just naturally the way it is, just like our muscle tissue goes down, our skin goes down. Like gravity is going to win unless there's so many things I want to say, I'm not saying, unless you overcome it. You've got to find ways to overcome it. You've got to go against it. So if the natural state is middle class, lower class, scarcity, poverty, what are you going to do to raise the bar, to raise the level? That's your responsibility. So the reason I took that little segue is because I want to bring it back home to how I started, which is it's hard because you don't know another way, because the old way is imprinted in the body, it's imprinted in the psyche, in your neurology. But it can be undone. First, you have to understand you are not your emotions. You are not your past. You're not the story you came in with. You're not that. You're not any of that. You're not your body. None of that. You are so much more. But you have to decide, you have to make the decision that you want more, that you want to have, that you want to help, that you want to serve, whatever it is, but you have to decide. If you have subconscious beliefs, you're not good enough, this is great, it's better than it was, I shouldn't have gotten this far anyway. Guys, you've got to change that or you're not going to be able to get there. Now, if you're satisfied where you are, it's no big deal. Just keep it all. But if you're listening to this, chances are you're not satisfied and you want more. The only reason you can't have it is because the unconscious is unseen. You need to get yourself in a space where you're hearing more and seeing more so that you can overcome the limiting beliefs that you think are you. They're not you. You are not your limiting beliefs. You're not your body. You're not your past. You're not what happened to you. None of that. I am not the teenage, homeless, motherless, lost, afraid, broke, poor. Although that experience was imprinted in my body. And when I tried to become something else, my nervous system would get dysregulated and hold on to it and try to pull me back into the past pattern. I had to get educated. I had to understand better. I had to know something else. See, there was something that I knew. I needed to know something else. So you have to be willing to let go of what you know to know something else. Not an easy task, just so you know. Your brain that's really on your side, it's the problem solver. You need to tell it what to do. And whenever your mind challenges it, and then you have nervous system dysregulation, which is just sensation in the body that wants to shut you down, put you into paralysis, stop you from moving. It gets nervous and shaky. You might start sweating. That is not you either, my friend. That is a nervous system reaction. That is nervous system dysregulation. It just means that there is a fight between your old self and your new self. That's it. Get educated, understand what's happening, and then have someone help you hold the space as you jump to the next. That's what we do in mind body coaching. We're really good at holding the space. We don't have a plan for your future. We can't control that. We don't know what you want. We can only help you with the core principles of transformation and change. And then we can hold the space as your guide. You get to be the hero. We're not the hero. You're the hero. You're the one who makes the decision. Just like I am the hero, I am the one who decided I was not going to stay sitting there. I was not going back in 6 months. I was not going to keep trading food stamps for deodorant, diapers, and tampons. That was not going to be my life. Despite what everything and everyone was saying around me, was not going to be my life. I think that's a God thing. I don't think I knew better to make that decision. I just did not want to keep repeating the life that I had. And I was like, I'm going to stop this. I'm not bringing my kid into this. I don't know what I have to do. I got down on my knees. I prayed to God for help to break the cycle. And nothing's been the same since. So what I want to tell you today, you are not your past. This is not your fault. What has happened is not your fault. But what happens once you have the information is you have to choose to want more, to do better, to change this. You have to choose that. And if you don't want it, no big deal. Just quit beating yourself up about not having it. Got it? So, let's do a little recap. You have a body, you have a brain, you got your mind telling stories, conscious and subconscious, right? And there's awareness of seeing that, noticing that. And then there's a lack of awareness, which is a limited mindset instead of an expansive mindset. And you just keep living the same day in, day out, and you keep passing it down to the next generation. Cool. That's great. You get to do that. Wasn't good enough for me, wasn't good enough for about 1% of the population. But I don't want to be wrong for wanting more either. Just like I don't want to make anybody wrong for not wanting more. So recognize you have a choice. You need the understanding and the cognition of how to get out of it. You need to know that what was doesn't have to continue being what is, that you can actually have something else. I am happy to coach you, especially if you want to create impact in the world. You're a legacy leader. You have something to contribute, but this thing is in your way. This is what's stopping you. Let's just get it out of the way. All right. Have an amazing week and make the decision that feels right for you because you have that choice. You get to go for reaching your personal potential or you get to just be where you are. I don't know that it's like in everybody's desire to want more. I just know I was flipping miserable. I didn't want what I had. I saw other people had better and I wanted that. And I'm going to say it was probably God's grace. There were no coaches. I didn't have coaches and healers, but I had books and I listened. I listened to who I call my mentors today. And I started to understand and heal and change things and make different decisions. And you can too. But it's not going to come just because you wish for it. It's going to come because you take a different action. I had to get up from that chair and not just say, I'm not coming back here, but I had to do something different and I had to give something up. I had to be willing to give up the free check, the free food stamps, and the free house. And that was not easy. I didn't have anybody to go to that was going to replace that. I had to depend on me. And I think that's maybe a disservice today is we have taken the struggle out of the lives of our children. We don't want them to struggle. We don't want people to struggle. It's like we want to protect this little pansy field, this little softness. That's not going to work because those pansies are just like blowing in the wind and they're weak. They need to get strong. They need that pressure. They need the pressure to grow up against it. We need the pressure. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. But you have to decide. And if you choose you don't want more, let everybody else who does off the hook, guys, because that's just hurting you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than Mindset.